Hi and welcome back. When Letitia got the chance to meet up with Rajesh Mehta on a recent trip to Mumbai, she jumped at the chance. Well, it's not hard to understand why when one considers his extensive and impressive career as an avant-garde musician. Let's join her to see what she learned about this versatile man.
Today we have the pleasure of meeting a man whose passion for both engineering and music have culminated after a 15-year journey into what I can assure you are some of the most interesting instruments and artworks you have ever seen. Join me as we meet Rajesh Mehta and find out why his works are becoming some of the most sought after in the world.
When hearing the story of Rajesh Mehta's life, one would be forgiven for thinking it's the narrative of a great novel. His story began 44 years ago in India, and his travels around the world began soon after. During his early years in New Jersey, he developed a talent for playing the trumpet, and a love affair began. Rajesh completed an engineering degree at MIT in the United States before returning to India. His two passions have been combined to produce an artist with unique talents.
You developed a unique fusion between technology and music. What began your career?
I wouldn't call it fusion, I'd call it hybrid. I hybrided, let's say, two different parts of myself, the musician side and the engineering side. Before I actually drew the series that you see on the walls, I actually made what I call the pattern generator, which is a mathematical algorithm that I use to generate rhythmic patterns. So that was the first thing. It looks a little bit like Braille, sometimes people say, but I take meters, let's say meters of 5/4, takatatiki, or meters of 7, meters of 10, and they're put into little algorithms and they generate these visual patterns which are turned into rhythm.
How have you turned these works into a composition?
Here's an example of taking the imaginational map, which is a drawing, and it was turned into a composition, musical composition for a DVD production. So I took the imaginational map and then scaled it with time and pitch axes, and then broke it down into component parts. So this is the first foil, and they're called O objects, or ornamental objects, which are lyrical and melodic forms. And then T in our objects, which are glissandis, trajectory objects, rising and falling tones. And then P objects, which are percussive clouds, which are rendered by a graphical computer program. And then each of those parts in this symbolic system is turned into music. What I discovered over a 15 or 16-year period is that if I took a slide out like this and I disconnected the tubing of the instrument, I could get a call and answer kind of quality. The sound channels between the bell and from the disconnected slide. So then what I did was I would take the disconnected slide and I'd put a tube into it and connect that, and then the sound will be spatialized depending on the valve combination. But the great thing about tubes is that they're flexible. One of the first solos I made was called Helicopter Ganesh. So you have this spatialized quality. Suddenly a trumpet, which is supposed to be a linear instrument, turns into a spatialized, almost a sound helicopter.